Hello everyone, welcome to the not the market outlook, but outlook for the next Samvat, that is the new Samvat, and of course the outlook for from now up till next Samvat, that is next Diwali, remains to be extremely positive on fallback of couple of events which have been outlined by us in terms of adding support to the markets. A view is that if not by next week, then possibly by this year, and we are likely to see a lot of positivity with respect to the markets on various accounts. Couple of them that we feel could be positive is, of course, the ongoing second quarter earnings and the upcoming third and fourth quarter earnings and the earnings for the next financial year. We expect recovery over there. Good part is that whatever little bit of earnings we've seen up till now, there has been no major disappointment, and expect this particular momentum to continue, which will add to the sentiments in the market. Government policies have been supportive, and we expect more newer policies to come in from the government to support consumption, to support growth, to support GDP, and to support the vision that the government has outlined in terms of Make in India and Made in India. There will be more positivity in terms of the ongoing talks between India and European Union. Of course, we've signed FTA with 4 European countries, likely possibility of other countries also joining in, which will be again positive in terms of the stability in the markets. And of course, the improvement in the geopolitical situation. If this peace has to last, not only in the Middle East, but if there is any meaningful resolution between Russia and Ukraine, then that will add to the sentiments from a long-term point of view for equity markets globally. There are certain sector-specific focus that we have outlined in terms of visible improvement in earnings with respect to order flows and, of course, in terms of performance. So, which are those sectors which are likely to do well? Well, defense, consumption-related, both discretionary, non-discretionary, the entire BFSI segment, that is banking and finance, including public sector banks, private sector banks, and strong NBFCs. Stocks related to the Indian capital markets, power, cement, and autos. So these are approximately 6 or 7 odd sectors where we feel the focus is going to be much better in terms of numbers which are likely to get reported, not only for the second quarter, but also for the third and the fourth quarter, and of course for the coming financial year. Any kind of positivity in terms of downward move on crude oil prices will also be more supportive to the economic growth as far as India is concerned. And that will also lead to more positivity in terms of numbers getting reported. There was a little bit of concern in between with respect to the outflows with the FIs were reporting. But over the last couple of trading sessions, there has been a slight positive inflows from the FIs. So I think if India has to perform in terms of earnings improvement, if India has to improve in terms of GDP growth rate, consumption related data that has been put out, inflation related numbers, and of course a likely possibility of rate cuts in the credit policy that is going to come by in the future, then if you have to put all this thing in perspective, then I think it's going to be more positive in terms of economic performance and GDP growth rate moving higher, interest rates coming down, inflation coming down, adding to the overall corporate performance. Not that all the sectors are likely to do well, but more or less large part of the sectorial performance is going to be much better in terms of reported numbers. So if not by this Diwali, but at least by this year end, we expect the markets to be in a much better position, possibly surpassing the all-time highs that we have already seen. And we are not far away from those levels. We are closer to the all-time highs rather than being closer to the all-time lows. So this is a big positivity. New paper will keep on coming into the market, which will attract a lot of investor interest with respect to the IPOs. We saw a flurry of IPOs hitting the markets over the last 2 to 3 weeks. The only request to investors is that please evaluate each IPO independently. Don't look at all the IPOs from the listing gain point of view. And there are much better instruments available now, platforms available now to give you information about those new papers that are coming into the market. So friends, overall, we remain extremely positive in terms of sectoral performance and overall equity market. There may be odd days of profit booking. There is not a single market in this world which will only give you an upside move. Going up, coming down, stabilizing and moving up and making a new high is the order of the day, and that's how the markets react. Expect the strength in the rupee as we go forward against the US dollar, and because of whatever is happening in the US, of course, the shutdown, etc., etc. There is a view on the street that US dollar could see we could see US dollar weakening, which will possibly lead to strength in some of the emerging market currencies as well, including the Indian rupee. So all these things, friends, point towards a little bit of more stability for the next Samvat, for the new financial year also. And of course, the flows with respect to the domestic institutional investors. Uh, we've had some data points, and I think with the kind of growing interest that the retail investors are showing, our sense is that there will be enough liquidity with domestic institutional investors to face any kind of uncertainty in case if FIs have to again turn net sellers. Uh, the only caveat over here in terms of any kind of headwinds is going to be on earnings front, because eventually markets will track fundamentals, markets will track earnings, and if earnings are supportive, then market will definitely tend to re-rate itself. So invest wisely, invest after due diligence, understand, evaluate, do a little bit of homework, and have a long-term time horizon. Uh, our experience tells us that if you have invested in stock markets, in strong fundamental stocks from a long-term point of view, then markets have never disappointed you. Wishing all of you all a very happy and a prosperous Diwali, a very progressive new Samvat year, and from our company Geojit Investments Limited and from my side, and hope all of you all stay in good health. Thank you very much.